Welcome to another creative experiment with me, Tammy Collins. Today we're going to do a jelly plate project. Okay, so these are the materials that I use. This is wet strength tissue paper, which I really love. A lot of things about this paper. And then this paper is medical exam paper. It comes in, I think, a couple different types. This one's considered parchment. It says parchment in the description. And this is deli paper. It's like deli paper. It's kind of like paper that you think of when you wrap a sandwich. It's deli paper. It's a little waxy. It's got a really cool texture to it. And then rice paper. This is just a pack of wet rice paper. I bought a specific size. Whenever I do a jelly plate experiment, I pull several of each of these sheets. This is a table placemat that's heavily textured, and that's a cardboard roll with string wrapped around it. Those are the key elements in the texture. So then we have some colors here. We've got Viridian, we've got phthalocyanine green, turquoise green, we've got light magenta, turquoise blue. And so this is the piece that I'm going to attempt to sort of recreate and show you how I created it. Now I'm just going to use some different colors just because since I'm doing it, I want to see it in a different colorway. It's more about showing you the process that I did to create this. And I like to go to Goodwill and thrift locations and find all these old or discarded hard wood frame, like they're pieces of art. I usually have words on them, but it's a wood frame with a wood top. They make a great base to put the art on. So I've just put that on here, and so I realized that this one color, the Viridian, I'm kind of out of it. It's not really coming out of the tube, so I grabbed this bright aqua green. It's very close, a similar concept for what I was trying to achieve here. So I'm just going to put all these colors out on a tray. You know, I have to say, I really regret that I didn't record this the first time. I'm trying to record every time I go into a session, because it's mainly a video journal for myself. And oh, I love that candy tray. It's great texture. This is bubble wrap. These are just things that I love to use, so I'm pulling them and getting them all ready. This is not saran wrap. It's a very heavy plastic. But anyway, I didn't record the session when I made this original piece that I showed you. And I really regretted not doing that afterwards. I kind of shared it on social media, and it got a lot of attention. And everyone wanted to know what the process was and how I did it. And of course, I didn't record that one. Isn't that how it goes? Anyway, I do try to record, and I try to record for myself. It's a visual recording of the process that I went through. I'm not trying to do anything special with these videos. I record them and I upload them. If someone enjoys them, great. But they're more for me as a diary, if you will. So right now I'm just spreading a couple colors on there. I'm getting into the flow. I'm heavy-handed. There's a lot of paint here. So because there's too much paint, I'm going to use my deli paper to just remove some of the paint, which is one of my favorite things to do with the deli paper. And these make great backgrounds for other things. So now see, I've removed some of that wet paint, and now I'm going to imprint with this table. It's like a placemat, if you will, for the table, like the dinner table. I found these at a thrift store for like $1. There was a pack of 4. And I thought, oh, this would make a cool texture. So that's what I'm doing. So I just put it on there. I'm kind of rolling it to press it in. And then now I'm going to play with layers to fill in the area that was just removed by the placemat. Now in the original piece, that area is like a gold or an ochre color. And so this time I'm doing it, these are more in these, you know, teals and turquoises, and I'm going to add in pink. So I'm still a little heavy-handed. So when I go into a jelly session, I have to kind of warm up and get into the groove. So the next step in the process of the original piece was that I used this tube, cardboard tube with string around it to create those. In the original piece, they're kind of like white lines. They almost look like grass or something like that. So of course I just messed up there, but that's okay. I'm not in the flow yet. It takes a bit. Sometimes I just do these added texture layers just to kind of help remove excess paint. I tend to do my jelly prints a little bit differently. Everyone kind of waits for them to dry completely, and I tend to not do that. I like the randomness of what happens when you kind of pull it while it's still wet. It leaves paint on the plate and it gives you a print. And so that remaining paint on the print, or on the plate, it gets built up and creates all these unique things. Now, in the process of recording, I think I skipped an editing piece there, but I put the pink on there and then I put the paper on there. It does have a lot of paint, so I'm letting it dry a little bit. I did use the candy tray on here as well, just to give it another visual element. You know, I know recording in it of itself is a relatively easy task, but I find it highly disruptive to the creative process. It's really hard to record and create at the same time. I'm still trying to figure out how that works best without disrupting my flow. So there's a little bit of jumpiness around here in the beginning. Bear with me. We're going to get better as I get warmed up here. So I'm trying again now, and I put down a darker green that I had pulled. I think it's this phthalocyanine green, I believe. It's either that or turquoise green. And I used the placemat again. So now you can really see the pattern from the placemat. That's what I was after. And so now I want to fill in those spots with the light magenta and the bright aqua green, or I think I got a little bit of this viridian in there. I put them both on at the same time so that I get sort of a mottled two-color, different colors in there. And now I'm going to use the tube with string again to create the sort of the squiggly, what kind of looks like grass is the easiest way to describe it. Now, let's see. Okay, so we're going to pull this now. I let it dry just a little bit because there's a lot of layers. So I'm using wet strength tissue paper here. This is probably my favorite choice to use out of all of them. It has a nice consistency, and it's a little stronger than you would think. It's not like regular tissue paper. Now, I let this dry more than I normally do. I don't know why I did that. It's not how I would have normally pulled this. So let's see what we get here. Okay, not too bad. Again, I like to put my paints down, put my textures in, or whatever I'm going to do, and then put a piece of paper on there and pull it. I don't necessarily worry about if it's dry or not. I don't know that that's right or wrong advice. It's just the way I like to do it. So I'm not going to clean that stuff off the plate, which I'm going to learn a big lesson here, and you're going to see in a minute. Like I said, I like to work in the wet. And I'm watching things and seeing everybody dry there, so now I'm questioning myself and thinking, oh, well, I have to dry it. I have to dry it. And you'll see. I made a major mistake, and you'll see exactly why. So I'm leaving it in here in this video so you can see what happened. So this is really heavy paint. I put a little too much paint on. I'm still trying to get warmed up. I'm still, I feel a little out of sorts in this session, and I'm not 100% sure why. Probably because like most people, I'm busy and I'm trying to fit my creative time in. And I was asked to recreate this video, and I feel a little bit of pressure to do that. And it's not going the way that I wanted it to. So it's messing with my creative flow here. So that's actually a really important lesson and thing to see happen. So this is now the medical exam paper that I'm putting on there, and you can tell because you see how it's much thinner, and you see how it's crinkling, and also see how I just pulled that while it was wet. And so I feel like that result is much better. And now I still have all of this paint on my plate. But so I put some of this bright aqua green on, and I rolled the string on the tube again to get that texture. And now I'm using another piece of the medical exam paper. You can see it's really kind of thin. See how it kind of wrinkles? I kind of like that it does that. It adds another element to the piece without trying. So see, I pulled it wet. I didn't really wait for it to dry. And I actually really like this result. If I were trying to recreate the original piece, that's pretty good backdrop to work with. So one of the things I wanted to say here is, as I mentioned, my creative mojo's off a little bit because I'm feeling some outside pressure. That's a normal reaction for someone that's trying to be creative to have when there's maybe requests or parameters put around what they're doing, and that eases with time. But you got to learn how to not let it disrupt your creative flow. You want to really get into your creative flow and just trust your intuition and let it loose. And so you can see that I'm still kind of trying to get warmed up. Okay, so this piece is rice paper. Rice paper is also really nice to work with. Now, this is where I go against my own gut. I thought I better let this dry. Let me try letting it dry. Now I've cut some of that time out just so you're not bored with watching me dry the piece, but I let this dry. And much longer than you see there. And see what happened? It's ripping. It's ripping really bad in multiple places. Now, this is the first time I've ever had any paper or any print that I do rip. Granted, I haven't been doing Gelli plate all that terribly long, probably 6 months, but I believe this is because of the drying. I waited for it to dry. I didn't do my normal pull it while it's wet. Anyway, so I thought this would be great to leave in here and let you see. And for me, it was a lesson of I should listen to my intuition and my instincts instead of letting other people sort of dictate how I'm doing it. So that's the other big point I wanted to make here in this video with this particular sort of botched pull. I'll still use this in some other, I'll make a smaller piece and I'll use little scraps from there. But anyway, so now I'm going to clean my plate, and I'm kind of leaving this in here so you can see. I know I've seen a lot of times people have questions about how to clean their plate. I like the little wet wipes. And what I'm doing right now is, because I let it dry, the paint's kind of, dried onto the plate. So I'm just opening up the wipes and laying it on there to re-moisten the paint. And then I'm just going to scrub it off. It comes off pretty easy if you just give it a minute to be reactivated by the moisture of the wet wipes. It's kind of a messy process, but I thought it might be a good idea for people to see. Now, I've kind of realized in this moment that I didn't listen to myself. I let other advice, other people's processes impede my process. And so I have this sort of epiphany while I'm cleaning the plate. And then after we get cleaned up and start again, you'll see a whole different process begin to come out, right? I'm going to fall back into what's comfortable for me and what I like to do. One of the other things I really wanted to mention is be generous and kind to artists who are putting themselves out there in the video space. It's really not easy to try to record and share what you're doing. It's very vulnerable. It's very hard to do. It takes a lot of extra time, and we're just doing it to share. So I see sometimes people make, comments that are a little inappropriate or maybe a little harsh is a better word, or insensitive maybe. I see sometimes people like put their thumb down on the video, and that's just, it's kind of not nice to do, really. Anyway, that's my little rant. But so now I'm gonna get into my groove. This paint I love, and I'm out, and I'm trying to make it work, and it's not gonna work. So I'm gonna switch it out with this bright aqua green, and then now I'm using the this is actually, I believe this is turquoise green. So in the original piece, I did multiple colors of like true green and gold. And in this one, I'm trying to do more of teals and turquoises and pinks. And I probably should have just went with the same colorway, but I wanted, since I was going to do it, I wanted to try something different. It's okay. It works out in the end. You'll see. I got some great pools, and I actually got two that I think I could do the same process on again and get a similar but different look. So I'm excited about that. So we're going to use this placemat again. I'm really loving this placemat. And I'm getting a little bit, my heavy-handedness on the paint has gone away. So the whole, just starting the creative session and those first round of prints, just all that mojo is kind of gone now. And now I'm into the groove. And so I'm just gonna, this is where I'm gonna make the bulk of my prints. So now I introduced ochre yellow, which I'm liking a little better than the pink. It's a different look, but I like it. So I'm going to pull, this is rice paper. I probably shouldn't have did that, but that's okay. So see, I just pulled it off because I don't want to, it's okay. That's a great print, and I kind of ruined it, but it would have been great, and it'll still be okay. But so I'm just going to put some yellow back on, or ochre, I guess it is. But you can actually see how the ochre is settled into the lines from the placemat, and that's what I was after. Okay, so I've just put a little bit on there and kind of re-wetted it, and I'm going to pull it again. But before I do that, I'm going to add in the string. I need to find something that I can use to like actually roll that, because it's really messy. I love it's really thick cardboard, and the string makes a great print, but it's really messy to use. I need to get some sort of roller thing for it. Okay, so I'm going to use this, I'm attempting to use this Viridian again, but it doesn't really work, so I think I put a little bright aqua on there, and really just to put some color into the string lines is all I was trying to do there. That is rice paper again. Yeah, see, I did change to, I changed, oh, I did use the Viridian there. I think I added a little water to it just to get it to move. Now I did dry this just for a minute, but not a lot. And this actually came out really good. This is, in my opinion, a really good pull. Um, this would work. This is a great base. And I should point out that I do jelly prints to create base, like a base background. They're buildable layers for other art that I do. Some people use jelly plates to make an entire art piece out of their pull. I do not do that. I am looking for, I'm aiming to create pieces that are layers. Think collage, think, mark making. These are just one of many things that go into a final piece. So I'm not going into it to pull something off and that be the finished piece. So that's an important distinction when you're, following artists and creatives and what they're doing, is to understand how it fits into their process. It may not apply to yours, so you just take it for what it is for you, and how it works in your process and what you're doing. I love mark making and doodling and intuitive, neurographic art and things of that nature. So very abstract type stuff. It's actually very, in my opinion, it's very nature inspired. If you think about things under a microscope, what they would look like, that's kind of the type of thing I'm doing. Okay, so this is, that's a deli sheet. Don't worry, I'll show you all these pieces at the end. I know I kind of get in a flow and go kind of quickly. Okay, so now I'm adding in some darker color to fill in the void. I put too much paint on here. You can see how wet it is. And I have a piece of deli paper off to the side, and I roll my roller on that deli paper to take the excess paint off. And that makes those sheets become useful for layers and things as well. Okay, so now I'm putting on a deli paper because you see I know there's too much paint on here and I'm trying to get it off. And so that was perfect. It pulled a lot of the excess off and it created an interesting look to the colors on the plate. So now I'm going to put the string in. And we're going to do a pull here. Let me see what paper this is. This is wet strength tissue paper. You can actually see here how the string lines. See, I'm pulling wet. I didn't wait for that to dry. You see, I'm back to my thing, and I love how this came out. This is a strong contender for the recreation of that piece. Now, this is why I pull wet. I love what's left on the plate. So now I'm going to treat that as if I'm doing another session. So now I'm going to put more ochre on there. This was really hard to actually record because I'm trying to recreate what I did on another piece that I didn't record, so I'm not 100% sure I'm accurate. I have the same materials that I used and the same sort of order that I used. I did try to use a little bit different colors, which I wasn't too thrilled with, and that's why I introduced the ochre back in, but oh well, my apologies. It's hard to record everything, you know. It really is. My creative time is all over the place. It's not like that's what I do all day every day, you know. I'm like most people. I have other work going on, and you know, time is in between. You know, sometimes I have a studio and I like to work in my studio, but sometimes I'll take a Gelli print back over to my other house. This is medical exam paper, and I'll take it back over to my house in the evening and sit and work on it then. And there's no recording set up there. And that's what happened with this piece. I took it and did it in the evening. I didn't think anything was going to come of it. I just wanted something to sort of unwind with. Now I let this dry just a little bit, and because this is medical exam paper, it pulled the paint quicker. So this acted like it was a dry pull. This piece came out great. And what you can't really tell here is there's a lot of details in there, and when I go and do my mark making and I accentuate those pieces, that's when they come to life. I think sometimes people are doing plate pulls and it seems like it's just color. But if they took it another step and highlighted or outlined or did mark making or did a bunch of other things to it, it would really come to life. And I think that's why, you know, this piece was so popular. If you saw the original pull, it looked much like the one I just showed you here in the video. It didn't seem like there was a whole lot there to work with. And so that's the difference, is when you go in another layer and do a different type of medium and do different techniques, you get a whole other result. And for me, that's that feeling of something under a microscope look that I like. So I think you can see how this next round I really got into my creation zone. I'm realizing here right now what's happening on that roller is really cool, and it would be really cool to just roll that on a piece of paper. Okay, that's really good. That's a really good impression. It was a really good layer of paint. It wasn't too thick. It wasn't too thin. It imprinted well. I'm just drying it just a hair so I can put on another color without mixing the color too much. This is in real time here. I didn't edit that. Okay, so now I'm going to put the ochre on here. I know this is going to turn out really well. This yellow ochre is going to settle into those imprints from the placemat very nicely. You can already see that happening. Now see, it's starting to mix color, so I don't want to roll too much. But you can see, look how nicely the ochre settled into all those little indentations or imprints left from the placemat. Okay, so I'm going to pull a print now. So this is the medical exam paper again. The easiest way to tell is you can see how thin it is because of those, it makes those little wrinkles in there, which I actually like. It adds a dimension. See, I'm pulling wet. I'm looking, do I want to pull this wet? I'm hedging. Do I pull it? It feels really wet on my hand, but it's, again, it's thin paper, so it's a little misleading. Just going to give it a couple of seconds just to dry. I'm particularly going around the edges. Just a real quick. I didn't edit that, so that was real time. There you go. See? Look at that. Perfect. That's fantastic. Now I didn't do the string on there, so I realized that, and then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I can put another light layer on top with the string. And I do this as an experiment, hence the experimentation, but I kind of regret it afterwards. And I really wanted that color that I'm out of, that Viridian, so I'm going to use the aqua green again. And I'm just trying to put a thin layer, and I'm going to roll the string in it, and I'm going to try to print right on top of what I already did. I kind of know this is a bad idea, but anyway, I thought it would be fair to share it so you can see. So there we go. I'm going to roll the string. So this looks good. This is going very well. So I'm like, okay. I should have just pulled this on another piece of paper. But, oh well. So I'm going to attempt to line up the piece I just did on top of this and pull. See, I hesitate. Oh, I forgot I did do a deli print just to pull a little bit of it off so it was a little thinner because I thought the paint was a bit thick. Because I don't want to totally cover my other design. This was probably a mistake too. Okay, see, I'm going to try. This is a mistake. I love that piece. It came out great. And so I'm going to try to carefully line it up, which doesn't go very well. And I don't know. You'll see. I realize it's not lining up and it's all wrinkly and whatever, but oh well. What are you going to do? You got to experiment, right? If you didn't do it wrong, you wouldn't figure out the way to do it that you like, right? So I know there's a lot of paint. I'm just drying for a second. I do a little bit of drying. I just don't dry as much as most people, I believe. I'm not sure, but that's the way I think it plays out. So it's not terrible, but what I wanted to achieve didn't happen, so it feels kind of washed out. Okay, so here's the results of today's session. These are all of the prints that I pulled. This one is on deli paper, and actually, even though it was just to remove some wetness, it came out great. This one will make a great layer. This is a piece that I just used to remove wetness. Same there. Those are both on deli paper. They're just random pulls to pull off wet paint. Here's another one. What you can't really tell there is because it's deli paper, the paint kind of, it's crinkly like. It's not smooth. So it's kind of a cool effect. This came out fantastic. This would be a great base to work with. You can see the lines there, the grass lines, like in the original piece that I'm trying to replicate, how they're there. That's on wet strength tissue paper. This is the piece that we just finished up that, oh no, I'm sorry, this is a different piece. This is actually also a fantastic base. You might not be able to see all the details, but once I would go in and add marks, this would be a good piece too. So I want you to see it doesn't look like much here, right? This is just deli paper. It was just a pull to pull off some wet paint, and you can see it's a great print. This is on wet strength tissue paper. Just a result of one of things today. This would make a great layer. There's lots of things going on of interest in there. Nice contrast in colors. This is the one that was a mistake that ripped on the dry pull. It actually would have been a fantastic pull. But I'll use it. I'll make a smaller piece and just use some of the scraps. It'll definitely get used, and it's still useful. So even though it ripped, it's not a complete loss. I can use small squares out of here in smaller collages. And then I can make one smaller piece in there, maybe a 5x7 or something along those lines. This is the one that I tried to put another layer on that didn't go so hot. There's actually a lot of detail in here. This actually might end up being a great piece with the right mark making. This is a great piece. There's a lot of things going on here. This would be fantastic to do, you know, lots of detail work on. This piece is fantastic. This is probably what I'm going to do. I forgot to tell you that there will be a second part to this video. I will use one of these pieces to do marks on like I did the original one, so you can see how that part was all done. That is an imprint from the candy tray. Just trying to show you some of the details. That's another wet paint pull. And so now I'm going to show you what I think are my favorites out of the bunch. And this is how this usually goes. I usually do a session, and out of the session I get anywhere from 1 to 5 pieces that I love, that I feel moved to do something else with. And so now I'm kind of going through and letting my intuition tell me which pieces I would like to work with. So if you haven't already, I appreciate you hanging around. Be sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate you watching. I hope it inspires you. That's my sole purpose for sharing my private sessions with you. So these are the winners, if you will, of the day. I love this piece. It's a great one. This is actually a really great one. These are all great bases. This one I thought was a flub. I'm actually liking it. This one is a great piece. This one I think might be my favorite right here. So this might be the piece that I continue to do some other marks with. That one I love too. I'm trying to narrow it down. So I think these are the two that I would choose to work, to go to the next step with. Both of these are really good for a base layer of what I like to do. So be sure to tune in. I will be recreating these marks on one of these 2 base gel prints here to show you how I did that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.